Part 2 HOA. Karen switched off my disabled daughter's oxygen tank because she was too loud. I still remember that night, the sound that changed everything. It wasn't a scream, not a crash, just a soft, choking gasp coming from my disabled daughter's room. A sound no parent should ever hear. I sprinted inside and froze. Her oxygen tank, her lifeline, was turned off. My little girl's lips were turning blue as her tiny hands clawed at the air, desperate to breathe. And then I saw it, the window slightly open, and her, standing outside with that cruel, proud smirk. Karen, the same HOA, Karen who had complained for months that my daughter's machine was too loud. At that moment, I didn't know whether to save my child first or confront the monster who did this. But what I didn't know was that this was only the beginning of the nightmare. A nightmare that would uncover secrets, lies, and a truth far darker than what happened that night. Before the story starts, I want to ask you one thing. Which city are you watching my video from? Please comment the name of your city below. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, so you never miss stories that expose the truth, reveal hidden darkness, and bring justice to innocent families. Now let's begin. My daughter, Emily, is 10 years old. She was born with a rare lung condition that makes breathing difficult. Without her oxygen tank, survival is impossible. For years, we lived peacefully, until a day we moved into Oak Ridge Hills, a neighborhood run by the strictest, most unreasonable, most heartless HOA president imaginable, Karen Whitmore. She hated everything: barking dogs, kids' laughter, holiday decorations, but worst of all, she hated us. She claimed Emily's oxygen machine was a disturbance, an unnecessary noise, even though it was barely louder than a refrigerator. Every complaint felt like a personal attack, but we tried to ignore her. But I didn't know that ignoring her wouldn't stop her. It would provoke her. I thought the HOA rules were annoying. I thought Karen was just another entitled neighbor. I was wrong. I didn't know that she was capable of crossing a line so dangerous, so cruel, that it would shake our entire community and almost cost my daughter her life. The tension started small, too small for me to realize how fast it would grow into something deadly. It began on a quiet Sunday morning. Emily was sitting on the couch, coloring in her notebook while her oxygen machine hummed softly beside her. The sun was warm, the air smelled like fresh breakfast, and for a moment, everything felt normal. Then bang, bang, bang. Someone pounded on our front door like they were trying to break it down. I already knew who it was. I opened the door, and there she stood. Karen Whitmore, 50-something, thin lips, sharp eyes, and that stiff HOA badge pinned to her polo shirt like she was a police officer. She didn't greet me. She didn't blink. She just shoved a clipboard in my face. "You're violating noise ordinance 4B, she snapped. "That machine of your daughter's? It's too loud." My afternoon yoga session was completely ruined. I stared at her, speechless. "It's a medical device," I said slowly. "She needs it to breathe." Karen crossed her arms like she didn't care. "And I need peace and quiet. We all make sacrifices." "Sacrifice?" I repeated. "You're asking us to risk my daughter's life for your comfort?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. Just turn it off when you don't need it." "I always need it." Emily's voice came weakly from behind me. Karen turned her head, glared at my daughter, and muttered under her breath, "Some parents love to exaggerate for attention." My fists clenched. My blood boiled. But I kept calm for Emily. "Please leave," I said firmly. Karen leaned in, lowering her voice into something cold, poisonous. "If you don't fix this noise issue, I'll take action you won't like." Then she walked away. I shut the door, but her words stayed stuck in my head like thorns. Take action? What did that even mean? That evening, I found a letter taped to our mailbox. A hearing notice. Karen had filed an official HOA complaint against us. The next day, during the meeting, she argued that Emily's oxygen machine destroyed neighborhood peace, violated sound limits, and should be restricted at night. She spoke with such confidence you'd think she was talking about loudspeakers, not a sick child fighting to breathe. The board members looked uncomfortable, but Karen's influence was heavy. She was the HOA president after all, and she knew how to intimidate. I defended Emily with everything I had. I showed medical documents. I explained the machine's necessity. I even offered to soundproof Emily's room. Karen didn't care. She only smirked, tapped her pen, and whispered to the board, "You let one rule breaker slide, the whole community falls apart." It wasn't about rules. It was about control. 1 week later, Karen escalated. We were having dinner when Emily suddenly gasped, pressing a hand to her chest. Mom, something's wrong," she whispered. I bolted toward her room. Her machine was unplugged from a wall. Not turned off. Not malfunctioning. Unplugged. Panic exploded in my chest. I plugged it back instantly and held her until her breathing steadied. Who would do this? Why? I checked the windows. Locked. The door. Locked. But her room has a small patio door that leads outside, and the lock was bent, as if someone tried to force it. My stomach twisted. Could Karen have? The next morning, I checked the security camera feed. At 2:47 a.m., a figure walked across the backyard. Short hair, HOA badge, blue jacket. Karen. She had been near my daughter's room at night. That's when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't about noise. This wasn't about rules. This wasn't even about the HOA. Karen had an obsession, dark, twisted, growing, and Emily was at the center of it. And I had no idea what she would do next. The day leading up to the incident felt strange from the very beginning. Too quiet, too still, like the calm before a storm. Emily woke up more tired than usual. Her breaths were shallow, her shoulders rising with each inhale like she was lifting invisible weights. I checked her oxygen levels multiple times, worried, but everything seemed stable. Still, something felt wrong. Karen hadn't shown her face in 3 days. No complaints, no yelling, no HOA letters taped to our door. Just complete silence from her side of the street. And that silence was what scared me most. People like her don't just stop. They wait. They plan. That evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned orange, I peeked outside and saw her. Karen stood across the street, staring at our house. Not walking her dog, not watering her plants, just standing, watching, her arms crossed, her lips tight, her eyes locked onto Emily's bedroom window like a predator watching prey. I pulled the curtains shut. Inside, Emily was drawing butterflies, her favorite. Her oxygen machine hummed beside her, steady and gentle, a sound I associated with safety. But my heartbeat didn't match that calm. It pounded like war drums. Mommy instincts. They never lie. After dinner, I tucked her into bed and did my usual routine. Checked the oxygen tank valve, checked the cables, tightened the straps on her nose adapter, kissed her forehead twice. "I'm right outside. If you need anything," I whispered. She smiled sleepily. "I love you, Mom. I love you more." She drifted off quickly, too quickly. The day had exhausted her. I sat in the living room, but I couldn't focus on anything. Not TV, not my phone, not even cleaning. Every few minutes, I walked down the hallway, just to peek through her door and listen to the machine's quiet hum. 10 p.m., everything normal. 11:30 p.m., still normal. 12:47 a.m. I jolted awake. A sound, not loud, but different. A choking gasp. I jumped up, heart exploding inside my chest, and sprinted to Emily's room. The moment I opened the door, my soul nearly left my body. Emily was sitting up, her hands clawing at her throat, her eyes wide and glassy. Her lips were turning blue. Her body shook as she struggled to breathe. The oxygen tank valve was turned off, not unplugged, not loose, twisted off. My daughter was suffocating. "Oh God, Emily!" I screamed, running to her, fumbling with the valve. My hands shook so badly I could barely grip it. Tears blurred my vision. My breath came out in panic-strangled sobs. "Hold on, baby, hold on. I'm here, I'm here." I twisted the valve open. Air rushed through the tube with a soft hiss. Emily gasped, collapsing into my arms as oxygen filled her lungs again. Her little chest rose and fell in painful jumps, but slowly, gradually she steadied. I held her tight, rocking her, whispering, "You're safe. You're safe. I'm here. Mommy's here." But I wasn't safe. I wasn't calm. My blood ran ice cold, because when I looked up, the window was open, just an inch, but open. And through that inch, I saw a shadow standing outside, a silhouette, thin shoulders, short hair, rigid posture, arms crossed. Karen. My heart stopped. Rage flooded every vein. I gently laid Emily back on the bed and grabbed my phone to call the police. But then, a soft knock on the window. A slow, deliberate, mocking knock. I froze. Karen's voice drifted in, soft but sharp enough to cut glass. "See." The noise stopped. Peace is so easy when everyone learns to obey. Obey? Obey? She turned off my daughter's oxygen tank because she wanted peace? I exploded. You could have killed her. I screamed through the window. Karen tilted her head like she found that amusing. Don't exaggerate. If the child can't handle a simple adjustment, maybe she shouldn't be living here. This neighborhood needs quiet, order, discipline, not medical disruptions. Medical disruptions. That's what she called my daughter's life. I yanked the window open, tears and fury mixing, and shouted, "Stay away from us, or I swear I will." Karen held up her HOA badge like it was a shield. "You can't threaten an HOA official. I have already documented your aggressive behavior. Any further violations, and I will involve the county board, maybe even Child Protective Services. Clearly, this environment is too stressful for your daughter." She gave a sweet, venomous smile and walked away, completely unfazed by the fact she almost murdered a child. I stood there shaking, unable to move. She didn't break in. She didn't leave fingerprints. She didn't get caught touching anything. But she did enough. And she knew it. I grabbed Emily, carried her into my room, locked the door, and held her all night. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every creak of the floor, every rustle of the trees outside felt like Karen returning. By morning, I had made my decision. I wasn't going to stay silent. I wasn't going to be intimidated. I wasn't going to let her win. But what I didn't know was that taking action against her wouldn't scare her away. It would provoke her into doing something far, far worse. Something that would shake the entire neighborhood and expose a secret Karen had been hiding for decades. The next morning didn't feel like morning at all. It felt like the world had lost its light. Emily woke up in my arms, her breathing still shaky, her eyes still red from the struggle she'd endured. I brushed her hair back gently, pretending to be strong, pretending to smile, because that's what mothers do. But inside, I was breaking. I kept replaying that moment over and over, her lips turning blue, her tiny hands clawing at the air, the window slightly open, and Karen's silhouette standing outside like a demon enjoying the show. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to tear the whole neighborhood down. But I couldn't scare Emily. So I didn't cry until she asked the question that shattered me. "Mom, am I going to die?" My throat closed. Tears pooled instantly. I pulled her into my chest, holding her so tight she could hear my heartbeat. "No, baby. Never. Not while I'm alive. No one will ever hurt you again." But I didn't know how to protect her. Not from someone so brazen, so confident, so unhinged. I decided to stay home from work. I needed to keep Emily safe, even if it meant losing my job. I made her pancakes. She ate only 2 bites. She wasn't smiling the way she usually did. She wasn't humming her favorite little tune. She wasn't drawing butterflies. She was scared. A 10-year-old shouldn't know what fear tastes like, but she did. By noon, word had spread around the neighborhood. Someone had seen Karen in our backyard at night. Someone else had heard arguing. Someone else mentioned police lights near our street weeks ago. Whispers everywhere. People peeking through blinds. Curiosity replacing compassion. Not one neighbor knocked to ask how Emily was doing. Not one person offered help. It felt like the whole community was under Karen's spell. Around 1 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was Officer Ramirez, the only decent cop in our town, someone who had known Emily since she was a baby. I heard what happened, he said. I'm coming by. He arrived within 10 minutes, hat in hand, worry in his eyes. He sat on our couch and asked gentle questions while Emily curled up beside me, clinging to my arm. When I explained everything, Karen's threats, Karen's complaints, Karen standing outside our window, the oxygen tank turned off, he looked horrified. You need to understand, he said carefully, this isn't just an HOA issue anymore. This is attempted harm. But without evidence, I can't arrest her. There was evidence. I cried. She was right outside the window. He sighed heavily. Standing outside is not a crime. And unless she physically touches the tank or breaks in, she can argue she was just checking noise compliance. Rage thundered through me. Noise compliance. Noise compliance. My child almost died. Officer Ramirez leaned forward. But I believe you. And I think she's escalating. Keep your daughter close. Lock everything. And call me the second she does something again. I'll find a way to nail her. But that wasn't enough. Not even close. After he left, I tried to distract Emily with movies, games, even ice cream. Nothing worked. She sat quietly with her knees pulled to her chest, eyes staring blankly. Then she whispered, "Mom, why does that lady hate me?" I felt something inside me break. I knelt down in front of her. "Listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong. You're perfect. She's the one who's sick, not you." Emily wiped her eyes, but stayed silent. That silence scared me more than anything. Later that afternoon, I stepped outside to take the trash out, always keeping the door open to hear Emily's breathing from inside. As I reached the curb, Karen appeared out of nowhere, like she'd been waiting for this exact moment. She walked toward me with slow, calculated steps, wearing that ugly, confident smirk. "You should control your child's machine," she said casually. It was still humming this morning. Very disturbing. My fists clenched. "Stay away from my daughter." Karen didn't flinch. She leaned in close, whispering just loud enough for me to hear. "You think I'm the villain, but I'm the one protecting this neighborhood from chaos. Children make noise. Machines make noise. You make noise, but I enforce peace. And if Emily can't adapt, then she doesn't belong here." I felt a heat rising in my chest, anger so strong it scared me. For a split second, I wanted to grab her, shake her, scream in her face. But then I remembered Emily inside. I couldn't leave her alone, not even for a second, so I stepped back. Karen stepped forward. She loved that power shift. Then she said something that made my blood go cold. "You think last night was bad? You haven't seen anything yet. Some lessons take time." She gave a satisfied little nod and walked away. I slammed the door shut. I started shaking uncontrollably. My hands, my legs, even my voice trembled. I broke down right there, sliding to the floor, covering my face as tears streamed down. The fear I had been suppressing finally exploded. The rage, the helplessness, the horror of almost losing Emily, all of it came crashing down at once. Emily ran to me the moment she heard my sob. She hugged me. She told me, "It's okay, Mommy." But it wasn't okay, because Karen was escalating. Because Karen had no fear, no conscience, no limits. Because Karen believed she was untouchable. Because my daughter wasn't just living next to a bad neighbor. She was living next to a monster. That night, I sat awake in the dark, watching Emily sleep beside me. I made a promise to myself. I will not break. I will not back down. I will protect her, whatever it takes. But what I didn't know was that the next attack from Karen wouldn't just target Emily's oxygen tank. It would target me. And the truth behind Karen's obsession was about to explode open, shocking the entire community. The next morning, everything felt different, heavier, like the air itself was warning me. I woke up before Emily, quietly slipping out of bed, so I wouldn't disturb her. I checked her oxygen tank, tightened the tube, kissed her forehead. She looked peaceful, but my heart knew peace was a lie now, not with Karen around. I walked into the kitchen, trying to catch my breath, trying to clear my head when my phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. You can't protect her forever. My blood ran cold. Karen. It had to be her. But how did she get my number? For the first time, fear turned into something else, determination. I opened my laptop, sat at the table, and whispered to myself, I'm going to end this. If Karen had a weakness, a secret, a criminal past, anything, I was going to find it. I typed her full name, Karen Whitmore. At first, nothing unusual. HOA president for 8 years. Former school administrator. Married once, divorced, no kids. A few articles about neighborhood events she organized. Typical Karen stuff. But then, something odd. Her old address, 5 states away. A small town called Brooksville. I clicked on an old newspaper link dated 2014. The headline made my heart drop. Local child dies after life support machine fails. Investigation ongoing. A chill ran down my spine. I read further. A little boy named Ethan Whitmore, Karen's only child, had died when his ventilator malfunctioned during the night. The article mentioned possible neglect and tampering still under investigation. Tampering? Tampering? I scrolled quickly, hands shaking. A follow-up article appeared. Mother cleared of charges, citing electrical failure. My eyes widened. Her child, her only child, died because his breathing machine failed, and she was accused, even if later cleared, of being responsible. Suddenly, everything clicked. Her obsession with noise. Her hatred for medical equipment. Her fixation on Emily's oxygen tank. Her rage when she saw us caring for our sick child. This wasn't about the HOA. This wasn't about rules. This was about her past, her trauma, her guilt. She saw Emily, and she saw Ethan. And instead of protecting a child, she was reliving her nightmare, twisting it, rewriting it, projecting her guilt onto us. She wasn't just cruel. She was broken, unhinged, dangerously unstable. And now she was fixated on my daughter. My fingers trembled on the keyboard. I scrolled further down the article. Neighbors in that town had reported Karen acting erratically after Ethan's death, yelling at kids for being too loud, filing noise complaints against power tools, lawnmowers, even kitchen appliances. She claimed she could still hear the ventilator everywhere she went. She accused families of flaunting their healthy children. She stalked a neighbor whose son had asthma. Oh my God, she'd done this before. She'd targeted families before. And now she had found us. My heart raced. My breaths came too fast. Sweat beaded on my forehead. I grabbed my phone and dialed Officer Ramirez instantly. Officer, I found something big about Karen's past. You need to come now. But he didn't answer. Instead, I got his voicemail. I hung up and tried again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Where was he? Before I could try again, something slammed against the house. A loud, deliberate bang, like someone hit the outside wall with their fist. I jumped up, my chair toppling over behind me. I ran to the window, and there she was. Karen stood in my driveway, breathing heavily, her eyes burning with something wild and terrifying. Her hair was messy, her clothes wrinkled like she hadn't slept. She held her phone in one hand and a clipboard in the other. Not a normal clipboard, a violation notice form. She slammed it onto my front door. Then she screamed, "You are under review. Your child's machine continues to disturb the neighborhood peace. I will have you removed." Removed? Removed? I stormed outside, slamming the door behind me. "What's wrong with you?" I yelled. "Are you insane? You almost killed my daughter." Karen stepped closer, her voice low and trembling with emotion I didn't recognize. "You don't understand. You don't understand what it's like to lose a child because of a machine. To hear the sound every single night until it drives you crazy. To know that if the noise had stopped, maybe things would have been different." I froze. This was it, her breaking point. Karen's eyes welled with tears, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of rage twisted with grief. "She died because you weren't careful," I said, trying to stay calm. "That wasn't my daughter's fault." That wasn't our fault. Her face hardened instantly. Your machine will fail too, she hissed, just like his did. I stepped back. That wasn't grief. That was a threat. A real threat. Karen, stay away from us, I warned. I know about Brooksville. I know about Ethan. Her expression crumpled for a second, shock, pain, disbelief, but then her eyes turned into cold steel. She stepped so close I could smell her breath. You think you're smart? She whispered. You don't know anything. The world took my son. The world will take yours. That's balance. I stopped breathing. What did you just say? I whispered. She leaned in further. Slowly, deliberately. I will not let that machine torment this neighborhood. And if something happens to your daughter, maybe you'll learn what I learned. I felt my entire body turn numb. I backed away. I'm calling the police, I whispered. Karen smirked. Do it. I'll have a restraining order on you before they even arrive. I stepped inside, slammed the door, locked every bolt, dragged a chair under the handle, and collapsed to the floor. Emily walked into the hallway, clutching her stuffed toy. Mommy? What's happening? I didn't answer. I couldn't, because I had just uncovered Karen's darkest truth. But I also realized something terrifying. Her past wasn't just influencing her. It was controlling her. She wasn't finished. She wasn't satisfied. And the next move she made would be the most dangerous one yet, because now she had nothing left to lose. The sun went down that evening like it was afraid to stay in our neighborhood. Every shadow felt longer, every sound felt louder, every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Emily stayed glued to my side all day, afraid to even go to the bathroom alone. And honestly, I was afraid too. I kept checking the locks, the windows, the oxygen tank, the backup tank, even the hallway lights. But paranoia was better than regret. Around 8 p.m., I heard the first sign that the night wouldn't be normal. Scrape. Something dragged across my front porch. I froze in the kitchen, heartbeat thundering. Emily looked up from the couch, her little face pale. Mom, was that her? I didn't answer. I didn't want to scare her. But my silence scared her even more. I slowly approached the front window and gently moved the curtain a half-inch. Karen, standing on my porch, holding a gardening rake like a weapon, dragging the metal teeth across my door. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Her face wasn't human. Her eyes were wide, bloodshot. Her breathing was heavy, uneven. Her smile, the same twisted smirk she had the night she cut off my daughter's oxygen. She wasn't there to talk. She wasn't there to warn. She was there to finish something. I stepped back from the window, so fast I stumbled. Emily grabbed my arm, trembling. Mommy, please don't leave me. I'm not leaving you, baby, I whispered, kneeling to her. I'm right here. Stay behind me, no matter what. She clung to me like a terrified kitten. The scraping stopped. Then, knock, knock, knock. Slow, rhythmic, mocking. I didn't answer. Open the door. Karen screeched. I know you can hear me. Emily whimpered into my shoulder. I grabbed my phone and dialed Officer Ramirez again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Why wasn't he picking up? Karen kept banging the rake against the door, each hit harder than the last. Thud, thud, thud. I dragged Emily toward the hallway, away from the front of the house. Halfway there, I heard the horrifying sound, a window rattling, someone trying to push it up. I spun around. It was the kitchen window, the same one above the sink. A shadow moved behind the curtains. Karen whispered through the gap in a chilling sing-song voice. Let me in, let me in. I want to see little Emily. Emily burst into tears, burying her face in my shirt. Enough. I marched to the window and yelled, Go away, or I'm calling the police. Karen stopped whispering, stopped rattling the window. Then she responded in a low, icy voice. You already did. I froze. What did she mean? What are you talking about? I demanded. She laughed quietly. Ramirez isn't coming. He won't pick up. He can't. I filed a restraining order claim against you earlier. Said you threatened me. Said you were unstable. He has to investigate that first. No, 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 no. That was impossible. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Karen had influence here. Connections, manipulation skills, documents, false evidence. She could easily twist the narrative. And once the police think a parent is unstable, she continued, they start to question everything. Your choices, your medical decisions, your child's environment. She leaned so close to the glass her breath fogged it up. They might even question whether you turned off the oxygen tank. My jaw dropped. She was framing me. And the worst part? She was good at it. I stepped back from the window, shielding Emily. Leave us alone. I screamed. Karen's voice shifted, no longer angry, no longer mocking. Now it was cold, dead, final. You took my son, she whispered. Now, I'm taking your daughter. That was it. The line crossed. The threat made. I grabbed Emily and rushed to my bedroom, replaying that line in my head, each repetition stabbing deeper. You took my son. You took my son. You took my son. I didn't take him. I didn't even know him. But her psychosis didn't care. In her warped, grieving mind, Emily represented everything she lost and everything that tortured her. I barricaded the bedroom door with my dresser. Emily sobbed uncontrollably, clutching my shirt. Then, suddenly, the house fell silent. No scraping, no banging, no whispers, just silence. But silence from Karen wasn't safety. Silence was strategy. I held Emily close, every muscle tense, waiting. Then we heard it. Footsteps. Inside the house. Inside. I clamped my hand over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. Emily's eyes widened in terror. We listened. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. Slow, purposeful, moving down the hallway. She got in. Oh, God, she got in. My heart pounded so loudly I thought Karen could hear it. Then she called out, voice echoing through the house. Emily, Mommy can't protect you now. Emily buried her face into me, shaking violently. I grabbed my phone again. 911. Finally, the operator answered. Before I could speak, another slam hit the bedroom door. Boom. Emily shrieked quietly. Boom, boom, boom. Karen is trying to break in. I screamed into the phone. I have a sick child. Send help now. I didn't wait for the response. I tossed the phone aside and pushed the dresser harder against the door. Karen screamed from the other side. If I couldn't save my son, you can't save yours. Her voice cracked with grief and insanity. The strikes grew more violent. A crack formed in the wooden door. Then, sirens. Far away. At first, then louder. Karen froze. For the first time, SHE panicked. She ran. Her footsteps pounded down the hall. A door slammed. A window shattered. She was fleeing. I sank to the floor, pulling Emily into my arms, crying with relief and terror. The cops burst in minutes later. Ramirez was the first through the door, breathing hard, pale with shock. But I could see it in his eyes. He didn't come because of my call. He came because something had happened. Something big. Where is Emily? Is she safe? He asked breathlessly. I nodded, eyes wide, trembling. What happened? I asked. He exchanged a grave look with the other officers. You're not going to believe what Karen did, he said. We just found something in her house. Something about her son. Something she hid for years. My heart dropped. What is it? Ramirez swallowed hard. It changes everything. Ramirez's face said it all. Whatever they'd found wasn't small, and it wasn't just Karen being Karen. This was deeper, darker, something she had buried for years, and now it was rising to the surface. He motioned for us to sit. I held Emily tightly on my lap. My heart still hadn't slowed from the attack minutes ago. Ramirez finally spoke. We searched her house, he said slowly. There was a room locked from inside. Her son's room. Ethan. My breath caught. He continued. Inside, we found files, notebooks, voice recordings, and evidence the original investigation never saw. Evidence she hid. I whispered. What kind of evidence? Ramirez looked down. It took him a moment to find the strength to say it. She sabotaged Ethan's machine. On purpose. My heart stopped. Emily clutched my arm, not fully understanding, but knowing something terrible was being spoken. She what? I whispered, barely able to speak. We didn't understand at first, he said, but she wrote everything down. She blamed the machine for taking her peace, her life, her sanity, and she convinced herself the only way to fix her life was to remove the problem. I felt sick. My stomach flipped. The room spun. She killed her own son, I whispered. Ramirez nodded. And she covered it up. Created the story of an electrical failure. Hid the tools she used. Manipulated the investigators. The case was closed because she made it look like an accident. My jaw trembled. Emily held my hand tighter. So, when you moved in, he continued, she saw your daughter, the oxygen machine, the sound, the routine, and it triggered her. She believed the machine had robbed her of her son, and she believed it was going to do the same thing again. Suddenly, everything made sense. Her anger, her obsession, her threats, her whispers, her rage when she saw Emily breathing with the machine, her stalking, her breaking in, her tampering with the tank. She wasn't trying to keep the neighborhood peaceful. She was trying to recreate her twisted past, the one she'd rewritten in her mind, where the machine was the villain and she was the victim. She wanted Emily to die like Ethan. The truth hit me like a bullet. Karen wasn't fighting me. She was fighting her own guilt. By trying to kill my daughter. My breath shuddered. Emily crawled into my arms completely, hiding her face. Ramirez sighed. We put out an alert to find her. She ran, but she won't get far. And now, we have everything to take her down permanently. I nodded, but my mind wasn't letting go of something. I had to see the room. I had to see the truth myself. I had to understand what kind of monster lived across the street. When Emily was safely with another officer in my bedroom, I followed Ramirez across the street to Karen's house. The front door was wide open, police tape hung across, lights flashing inside. Her living room was a mess. Papers everywhere. Walls covered with printed HOA forms mixed with photos of children in the neighborhood, including Emily. A knot formed in my throat. We walked to the locked room. The door was splintered from where they'd broken it down. Inside, a shrine. Not the sweet kind. Not flowers or candles. A shrine of madness. Ethan's crib. Ethan's toys. Ethan's hospital gown pinned to the wall. Articles about ventilator failures. Audio recordings labeled the night it happened. A calendar with dates, circled dates when Emily had doctor visits. And in the corner, a small notebook. Ramirez handed it to me slowly. Prepare yourself, he whispered. I opened it with shaking hands. Page 1. The sound must stop. The machine lies. The machine steals. Page 6. Ethan cried. Ethan begged. The machine wouldn't stop. Page 11. If I turn it off, he'll be free. I'll be free. I gasped. The world blurred. Page 15. A list of noises that haunted her, including medical oxygen machines. Page 18. A sketch of our house. Emily's room circled. The note. The next one must stop. Before it ruins everything again. My knees buckled. I dropped to the floor. My tears fell onto the paper. Ramirez knelt beside me. You see now, this wasn't about you. This wasn't even about Emily. Karen was living in her trauma, and she was trying to rewrite it. I choked on a sob. She almost killed my baby. He nodded. But you saved her. You fought. And now, we'll make sure Karen never hurts anyone again. Suddenly, a police radio crackled. Suspect spotted near the community entrance. Officers in pursuit. Ramirez stood instantly. Stay here. Don't go outside. But I did, because I needed to see this end. I followed them down the street. Police cars cornered the entrance. Officers ran through trees. And then, through the cold night air, a scream. Stop. Don't move. Another voice. Drop the weapon. A long, crackling silence. Then, a woman's voice shrieked into the night. IT was the machine. Not me. The machine took my son. It took him. Karen. They found her. She wasn't running. She wasn't hiding. She was standing in the middle of the street, hands in her hair, crying and screaming like a wild animal. It wasn't my fault, she wailed. It wasn't my fault. It was the sound. It never stopped. It never stopped. When she saw Ramirez, she yelled, Tell them I was right. I was saving her. That girl's fate was already decided. I stepped forward before anyone could stop me. Karen's eyes locked onto mine. Her expression twisted into something horrifying, part hatred, part grief, part delusion. You destroyed everything, she whispered. And now you'll see. The world balances itself. I shook my head, tears streaming. No, I whispered. The world just finally saw the real you. Police pulled her away, handcuffing her as she screamed and begged and ranted about machines and fate and children who should have stayed quiet. I watched her disappear into the back of the patrol car. The nightmare was finally over. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I looked up at the sky, my breath trembling, and whispered, "It's over, Emily. It's over." But inside, I knew one last thing was left to say, a message for every mother watching, every family who suffered silently, every victim of people like Karen. If you've stayed with me through this entire story, then you already know one thing. No mother should ever have to fight alone. My daughter survived because I refused to stay silent. And if you believe that every child deserves safety, love, and a world free from monsters hiding behind rules, then I want to hear from you. Comment below the city you're watching from, and tell me, what would you have done in my place? And before you go, subscribe to the channel. Your support gives strength to stories like ours, and justice to families who need it most.